I think that Ultron might be a better villain than Loki. Yep, there, I said it. Greetings everyone, Oscar here, and holy shit guys. I just came home from the Swedish premiere of Avengers Age of Ultron, and just wow! And since I'm actually the only one of the Hybrid Network members that actually got the chance to see this movie this early, of course, I'm naturally the one who has to review it, but I will gladly do so. So not only will this video be a review of Age of Ultron, but it will also be a video of me rubbing it in the faces of my coworkers at the Hybrid Network that I actually got to see Age of Ultron before any of them. So yeah, there it is. Zach, Josh, CJ, Nick, take that! Now with that said, let's review Avengers Age of Ultron. So, the movie begins on a very action-packed note where we get to see the Avengers versus Baron Strucker's Hydra division, and you can see this through the entire movie that they are working as a team. They are very well coordinated, and you can also see it in their interactions with one another, that now they know each other, they know their strengths and their weaknesses now. They have a lot of funny banter back and forth between every member. There is this running gag about Captain America not approving on foul language. Whenever one of the Avengers says like a curse word or whatever, like shit or hell or son of a bitch, they're like, "Oh Cap, this person said a bad word. You should go spank him." I thought it was really funny. They were in Sokovia and they're, as I said, fighting Baron Strucker's Hydra. They have finally tracked down Loki's scepter and they're gonna retrieve it. But while they are fighting all these Hydra forces, that's when we get our first taste of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. The biggest troublemaker of the twins is the Scarlet Witch because she can manipulate people to see their worst fear initially, and that is exactly what she does. Tony Stark sees his worst fear, and his worst fear is basically seeing the Chitauri invade and seeing the Avengers lying in front of his feet, dead and destroyed, beaten, disassembled, if you will. And that's sort of the thing that sticks with Tony throughout the entire movie. But when the Avengers are fighting Hydra, they're not actually alone. They were backed up by the Iron Legion. Tony has actually made robots for the Avengers that they can use when they're on missions. So when the Avengers are fighting whatever battle that they are fighting, the Iron Legion will come in and act as a evacuation force, because that is something that they really put a lot of emphasis on in this movie. That one of the main rules that the Avengers has when they're out in the field is that they should keep damage to a minimum and always try to evacuate or at least take civilians into safety, and try to keep the bad guys as far away from populated areas as possible. But anyway, the Avengers, to no one's surprise, actually beats Baron Strucker and his Hydra forces, and then they head off to the tower because Tony and Bruce are gonna do some testing on the scepter and see what really makes it tick before Thor takes it to Asgard. And it's really here when they are back at the Avengers Tower that we get into the birth or creation of Ultron, really. In all the teasers and from all the interviews with the actors in this movie, they have sort of made this image that it is actually Tony who is creating Ultron. That is kind of sort of not really the case. And spoilers by the way, Ultron är en artificiell intelligens som Tony och Bruce Banner hittade inuti Lokes stab, och från den här artificiella intelligensen tänker Bruce Banner och Tony Stark försöka skapa en artificiell intelligens som ska kunna kontrollera deras nya Ultron säkerhetsstyrka, och det är då här vi ser att Bruce Banner och Tony Stark försöker göra lite experiment med den här artificiella intelligensen. Men det går inte riktigt. De kan inte riktigt få den att fungera på det sättet som de vill. Så till slut så tänker de att vi kan göra det här någon annan dag. Vi kan pyssla med det här vid ett annat tillfälle. Eftersom just nu ska vi ha en liten fest och fira liksom att vi har lyckats slagit Hydra och Och Thor ska tillbaka till Asgård, så ja, det är liksom som ett farvälparty kan man säga. And it is during this party where Ultron becomes sentient. He doesn't really know where he is, he doesn't really know what he's doing, what his purpose is, or what it is really that he should be doing. And he actually has a bit of talk to Jarvis. We find out Ultron is so much more advanced than Jarvis is in every way. Like, he downloads information about the Avengers, he downloads information about the world at large, and when he downloads all of this information, that's really sort of the breaking point for him. That's when he sees that humanity is flawed, and the only way to truly create peace on Earth is to eradicate them all. And when Ultron steps into the scene, you can really see, to quote Jeremy Johnson, is that Ultron is out of his fucking hard drive. Like, his AI is corrupted. Like, he wants to create this perfect world, but he doesn't really know the difference between peace and chaos. And this is really interesting because Ultron in this movie is very different from Ultron in the comics. Like, Ultron in the comics is just a computer program. He's very emotionless, he is very cold and calculating, but in this movie, Ultron has more of a personality. He is very sick and very twisted, and you can see it in this movie that he suffers from mood swings from time to time. He's sort of like the reverse Tony Stark. Like, his personality is kind of close to Tony Stark's personality. He's actually very funny in a few scenes, very menacing, but is also very funny at the same time. To describe Ultron, really, he's like a little kid. This little kid who doesn't know right from wrong. But he is so convinced that his way is the only right way to create peace on Earth. And after Ultron's first attack, Ultron escapes to a new body via the internet. That's when the Avengers starts tracking him down. They see that he is looking for something, or rather someone, and what he is looking for is vibranium. As to who he's looking for Ulysses Claw, basically, because Ulysses Claw has a lot of vibranium on his hand. And it's actually here that they make a reference to Wakanda. Ulysses Claw has this kind of burn mark on his neck, which is the Wakandan symbol for thief. The Avengers tracks Ultron down to South Africa, Johannesburg, where Ulysses Claw is with his cronies. Ultron shows up together with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver because Ultron has now enlisted their help. Because Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver has this grudge towards Tony Stark that they really want to settle with him. And since Tony Stark is a member of the Avengers, they automatically want to take down the Avengers as well. But the Avengers shows up, they start a fight. During this fight, Scarlet Witch uses her charm powers on the Avengers, and she makes them all see some sort of vision. Like, she, as I said before, she makes them see their wish spheres come to life, essentially. Black Widow remembers her time at the Red Room. You know, she makes Thor see some sort of a vision of Ragnarok. She makes Captain America see Peggy Carter, young Peggy Carter. She wants to have, you know, that last dance that they never got. But then shit really hits the fan when she uses her charm powers on the Hulk and makes him go on a rampage in Johannesburg. And this is where Iron Man shows up in his Hulkbuster armor. Ooh, wow, it's an awesome fight. And during this fight, you can see that Tony is very careful with not trying to kill civilians or trying to destroy buildings where there could possibly be a lot of civilians. He's always scanning for places where there aren't a lot of people so that he and the Hulk can, you know, finish their grudge match. But anyway, during the fight between Iron Man and the Hulk, Ultron gets away with the vibranium. There's a lot of problems showing up at the Avengers front door now, since the Hulk went on a rampage and can't return to the tower, because if they do, Bruce Banner might actually get arrested for what he did in Johannesburg. So they had to lay low, so Hawkeye takes them to a very safe location. This is probably one of my favorite parts in the entire movie. It's the Avengers just hanging out on Hawkeye's farm. It's here that we get a lot of nice character development for Black Widow, Bruce Banner, and even Hawkeye. Hawkeye gets a lot of character development in this movie, and rightfully so, since he barely got any the last one. But as I said, Bruce Banner and Black Widow also gets their little character development, because throughout this movie, they have this sort of little romance between one another. And initially, when I heard that they were gonna have a romance between one another, I wasn't really on board with it, but seeing this movie, it felt very natural that they would actually pursue a romantic relationship with one another. And they really had some nice moments with each other throughout the entire movie. But it's also here at the farm where we see that a line is being drawn between Captain America and Tony Stark. Actually, there's a lot of things in this movie that builds up to Civil War, which will be really interesting to see when we finally get to Civil War. But in any case, it is here at the farm where the Avengers sort of figures out, okay, so what is Ultron's next step? And they realize that Ultron wants to evolve. He wants to create a new body for himself. So the Avengers tracks Ultron down to this research center in South Korea. Ultron is going to create a new synthetic body for himself. And it is at this moment where Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they start to see what is his grand scheme. And his plan is basically total extinction for the human race. That's his ultimate goal. This is where Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch join the Avengers to fight him. And here we get to see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch really shine. I mean, they had a few good moments prior to this, but this is really the moment when they get to shine. And during the fight, the Avengers manages to steal this body, this new body that Ultron intended to transfer his consciousness into. But unfortunately, Black Widow gets kidnapped by Ultron and taken to his headquarters in Sokovia. He's using Baron Strucker's old Hydra base as his new hideout. And we then cut back to Avengers Tower, where we see that Tony Stark and Bruce Banner are having this conversation. What are they going to do with this new synthetic body that Ultron has created for himself? So Tony comes up with the idea that I'm going to do this right. I sort of got it wrong with Ultron, but I'm going to do it right. The natural choice is, of course, that he's going to take Jarvis and transfer Jarvis's consciousness into this new body. But then Captain America comes onto the scene and he says, let's not do this again. Let's try to find another way to beat Ultron. But Tony's like, no, with this guy we can actually beat him. And you're like, we have to take this chance. We have to do this. And it's here where you see like further establishing Civil War aspect that is eventually going to come to play a big role in Phase 3. But anyway, the Vision is brought online and, well, it's Jarvis, but not really. And the Avengers are really skeptical about this. They see him as one of Ultron's creations. And, my god, the final battle, man. A lot of cool shit happens in it, and all the Avengers really gets to shine through in this giant battle. Yeah, you just have to watch it. And spoiler, det är nu Nick Fury och hans SHIELD-team kommer in och hjälper till med räddningsaktionen tillsammans med War Machine och lyckas rädda de här människorna som har blivit kvar i den här svävande staden då. Och spoilers igen, under fighten med Ultron, så när Hawkeye försöker rädda en liten kille från att bli dödad utav Ultron, så är Ultron väldigt nära på att döda Hawkeye. Men precis innan Ultron dödar honom så kommer Quicksilver in och lyckas få Hawkeye och den här lilla killen då i säkerhet. Men tyvärr så dör han på kuppen. Och det här gör verkligen Scarlet Witch riktigt jävla förbannad. Så att mot slutet av fighten så lyckas Scarlet Witch hitta Ultron, och det är här hon rycker ut Ultrons kraftkälla och dödar honom mer eller mindre, eller så mycket som du egentligen kan döda en maskin. And well, then the movie ends. Just wait a little second, because there is a mid-credit scene. And spoilers, och det har att göra med Thanos. Scenen är såklart ett litet smakprov på vad som kommer att hända i Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, I thought that this movie was really good, surprisingly good actually. I had high hopes for this movie, but goddamn, I didn't really expect how good it was going to turn out. I dare even say that this is better than the first one. I mean, wow, they really stepped up their game for this one. Everything is a lot better. There's a lot more character development. There are a lot of good action scenes. There is a lot of good dialogue in this movie as well, and this movie really blew me away. As I said, a lot of cool and awesome stuff happens within this movie, but my favorite part, as I've said before, is the part where the Avengers has this sort of downtime at Hawkeye's farm. There's a lot of good character development here for both Hawkeye as well as the rest of the Avengers. And I thought it was really awesome that we got to see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in this movie. Gotta say, Quicksilver in this movie, he's actually a lot better than the Quicksilver that we got in Days of Future Past. Good job, Aaron Taylor Johnson. You are definitely Quicksilver in my book now. And Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, and you really thought that they were related. They had a lot of good chemistry with each other. Speaking of new characters, the Vision, holy shit, also great. It was great to see the Vision. Like now, Paul Bettany is a physical part, is actually a physical part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's no longer just a disembodied voice. And when the Vision steps onto the scene, he steals almost the entire movie. He really has an interesting talk with Ultron towards the end of the movie about the nature of humanity, which is something that I really did like. But yeah, all in all, great movie. I highly recommend that you watch this one whenever it comes out in your area. So I'm going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's my time, so please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, have you seen this movie? And if you have seen this movie, like, what did you think about it? Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite moment? What's your favorite scene? Please tell me in the comment section below. So with that said, have a great day, guys.
Oh, hey. Hope you guys enjoyed what you just saw. I don't know what exactly you just saw, but I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you really did like it, go check out our other stuff. You know, we have social media, Facebook, Twitter. The link should be somewhere here. Also, we have other channels too. We have our movie video game channel. We have our music channel. Obviously our comic book channel too, because we know we do all that entertainment awesomeness. We also have a website. Go to our website, hybridnetworkyt.com. And check out our other videos. That's all I really have to say. It's Josh, and I hope you guys enjoyed what you watched.